Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that one of our admin received. The translation, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story? Is anonymous. So I am a slay queen and I used to do hookups a night for 800 rands, but now I am paying the price with my health. I really regret. And if there are any other girls out there who do these hookups and targeting men online, and then you meet up for a hookup, it is far much better that you just leave it like that, because the money that you might be getting each and every time when you are with a man, it is not even worth it at the end of the day. So it is me here sharing my own story. I thought that I had it all figured it out. I thought that I was in control with my beautiful looks. Men were flocking to me online. But now looking back, I see how wrong I was. I now see that the things that I did back then, even though I thought that they were a permanent solution to my problems as someone who was unemployed, it was not a permanent solution. And for a few years, I was living the life of a so-called slay queen. What I used to do is that I met men on Tinder, and whenever I'll be speaking with a man, then I'll act as if I am a faithful one. Then I'll end up telling the person that if you want to be with me, I'll charge you 800 a night, thinking that it was an easy way to make money. I thought that I could play the game and come out on top, but now I am the one who is paying the price. I am suffering from rare diseases that have left my body really broken, and I feel that my spirit, it is shattered. I am more like a moving grave because of the countless STIs that I have. Some of these STIs, those that cannot even be cured. It all started back in 2019. I was in my early 20s trying to build a life here in Johannesburg. I grew up in a small town. I had always dreamt of something big. My parents, they did their best, but we never had much, and I was determined to change that. I moved to the city, hoping to find opportunities to make something of myself. At first, I worked as a waitress at a local restaurant, earning just enough to pay rent and to send little money back home to my family. But no matter how hard I worked, it felt like I was always one step away from disaster, like the bills kept on piling up, and I would watch other girls around me living a good life, a life that I always wanted, wearing the latest clothes and having blessings that had the most nicest cars, being taken to the best clubs. It did not take too long for me to start feeling jealous. I wondered how they had managed to afford such a lifestyle, how they had always seemed so carefree, whilst I was struggling just to keep my head above the water. That was when a friend of mine introduced me to Tinder. She told me that it was not about dating as such. It could be a way to meet men who are willing to spend quick money on you. I was hesitant at first, but she showed me her profile and she told me how much money she was making, and a countless number of men that were lined up in her inbox waiting to be with her, begging her. As for data, she never bought data because the men will be sending her money, your e-wallets, everything. And most of these guys, they were spending money on her before even meeting up with her. She made it to sound so easy, like this was a new hustle, a harmless hustle I saw. So I created my own profile and I then put up my best photos. She was the one who took some of those photos, saying that when you are competing with other women, you need to make sure that you put pictures that are eye-catchy there. It did not take long for messages to start rolling in. At first, I was flirting, testing the waters, trying to see what kind of men were out there. And then I met a guy. He was older, in his late 30s, and polite. We chatted for a while. He offered me at least some money for a night out, I was nervous, scared that something might go wrong. But my friend assured me and told me that everything was fine. She told me that she had done it a dozen times before and I will be safe. I remember the first night clearly. We met at a lounge and I had put on my best dress, feeling both excited and terrified. He was nice. He bought me some drinks and then he took me to a lodge where he first handed me the cash, 800, just like promised, and we then spent the night together. So I kept going. I stayed on Tinder, swiping through profiles, chatting with men, setting up dates. I made sure that each and every time when I would go there, I'll be looking really good. I convinced myself that this was a good hustle rather than to go to work. A week I was making enough money. If I will be able to meet up with at least 5 guys a week, you can just imagine how much cash I was making. So most of these guys, they do not want a relationship where you are going to be attached to each other. They just want a smash and pass. And that was cool by me. 800, then you are on your way. That was when I was now losing a part of myself. The problems began. It started small, itching and discomfort at my private parts. I ignored it, hoping that it would go away, but I saw that it was yeast infection, so I went and I bought some cream that I was using on my private parts, but still the infection did not go away. I went to a private doctor and I was given some antibiotics, and I was on the antibiotics for a very long time. I went to a local clinic and the nurses took some tests on me, asked me a few questions, and then I was told that I had dropped chlamydia. I felt like my world was collapsing. I had heard about STIs before and I had never had an STI in my life. I was given some medication and I then used those medication, but it was not a one-time thing. I continued dating these guys. I even went to see this other guy whilst I was on my period, and I lied to him that I had my period when he was penetrating me. A few months later, I found myself back in the clinic. This time I had gonorrhea. Then a few months later, it was syphilis. Each and every time it will be a different STI. I got into the habit of going to different clinics, not wanting the nursing staff to recognize me, as the girl will always come to get her STIs treated. So like these STIs, they kept on coming back until I went to a private doctor. So when I went to a private doctor, that was when I was told that I have some STI that are drug resistant, which means that there is nothing as such as like they can do about it. So Brother Nashid, that is what has been going on with me. I do go to different doctors, and when I go to another doctor, I do not tell the doctor about my previous medications that has been given to me, like your antibiotics. He just gives me a prescription. I go to the pharmacy and I always choose a different pharmacy and I buy those antibiotics. And still I am on Tinder, still meeting these men in different guest houses. Right now, with the way that I am sick, I don't care even if a man says that let us do it raw without using any condoms at all, because already I know that I have nothing left to lose. I have all these STIs and I don't care if a man does not want to protect himself. So this is my own story, and I hope that men out there, they are going to learn. Like when you meet someone online, you do not know how many men they have been with in bed. You do not know the body count, so you must make sure that you condomize at all the times. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin who gave us this translation. Yo, strange things indeed they do happen in this world.